we get started really with the interview, I'd love to show a short video clip on the Serbia Creates. So let's play this clip. Serbia Creates. So Anna, what is this Serbia Creates initiative?
Well, it's a new platform for promoting Serbia. I think externally, but also internally. You know, when I looked at how Serbia was promoted in the past, it was always, you know, it was nice things, like, but it was, I think, too conservative. It was mostly about food or, you know, sometimes, you know, old agriculture, you know, village tourism, churches, monasteries, and I actually think Serbia is something different. You know, I think that Serbia is actually a country of very creative, very talented people, you know, innovators, very resourceful people, great artists. You know, we have so much more to offer to the world. And then, you know, I have a fantastic group of people I've established this Council for Creative Industries, and together we thought of this Serbia Creates brand as kind of the platform which encompasses all of that. So I think, you know, under that we go from, you know, Serbia Creates Talent to Serbia Creates Arts to experiences, ideas, tech, music, all of the things that we actually see around us, which are what Serbia stands for and can offer to the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's exactly also what my feeling is. I mean, I was not here in Serbia until we had, you know, established this link here to do WORLD.MINDS Belgrade, and I had a completely wrong image of Serbia, and I now see what Serbia really is about. It's this applied technology, it's the science, it's the arts. So I think it's a great initiative. Now, you're not the typical politician. You're more of a technocrat, you're more of a, you don't seem to be somebody who ever aspired to become prime minister. Is that about right?
That's right, yes. That's right, and it actually kind of took me by surprise. But I agreed, you know, I accepted the invitation in 2016 by, at the time, Prime Minister Aleksandar Vučić to join the government as the Minister of Public Administration and Local Government, and those who are not from Serbia, also those who are from Serbia. Actually, the ministry was, you know, it's even kind of you know, it's the name of the ministry is difficult. So whenever I went, for example, with the Serbian Chamber of Commerce, my good friend Marko Čadić abroad to meet with investor, he would always introduce me as, this is Ana Brnabić, our Minister of Public. And that, you know, so it was, but it was actually a very interesting ministry, and that's actually when I started the digitalization in the public sector, e-government as a way to establish a more efficient, more transparent government, you know, as a way also to fight corruption, and so we established this ministerial council for information technology and innovative entrepreneurship. And then I actually started also learning about this different Serbia. I was attending one conference by our NGO, Started. And when I saw the potential, the talent, I just could not believe it. I thought to myself, you know, this is something that most of the people in Serbia do not know exists. And if we can promote it and we can actually position this as the central focal point of Serbia's development and promotion of Serbia, then actually it would be a very, very different country in a very, very short time frame. And then 9 months later, I became the Prime Minister somehow. I still really don't know how that happened. And I actually got the chance to do all of these things. Then for a little while, I was also the Minister of Finance. When you said that, I was surprised as well. I'm the Minister of Finance, but you know, our Minister of Finance resigned, so I was both the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance. Those were very easy consultations between my cabinet and the Ministry of Finance, so it was a very nice time for me in terms of the budget.
Maybe you should take over all the ministries.
Certainly not your usual politician, and I'm never going to be a usual politician.
Yeah, but that was my next question. Now you're Prime Minister. You've worked in the private sector before. Do you miss the private sector? Is there a difference in how you govern? Are you fighting a lot of established bureaucracies? How does that feel?
All the time.
All the time.
It feels like pulling out teeth, basically, every single day. And it's very, very difficult. It's often very, very frustrating. But things are changing, and you know, I think you know, we have to invest. I always thought that you know, the key goal of my government is actually to start that transformation. My government is not going to finish that transformation, but if we do not start it, then Serbia will lose time. And so I think we have successfully started the transformation. The transformation is basically from kind of investment-driven economy, and mostly the economy which is driven by labor-intensive investments, to the innovation-driven economy, but also innovation-driven and knowledge-based society is what I think is really in the core of Serbia. And if we can unveil that, then in the matter of, I think, you know, 4 to 5 years, Serbia will be a very, very different country. Plus, we are living in a very exciting time of the fourth industrial revolution, where I deeply believe that the countries which were not winners of the previous industrial revolutions, the third industrial revolution, and Serbia certainly wasn't, now have this new chance to actually, everyone is starting from scratch, from zero, and if you're smart enough, and you know, now you can catch up, you can actually leapfrog, and you can become one of the winners, and I think Serbia can, and actually you're helping us with hosting the World Minds in Belgrade.
A little bit, hopefully. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now the education system in Serbia is really good. I mean, people are extremely well educated, but there's a brain drain because it's so easy to, for example, work in London or work in Zurich for any professional, any scientist, any professional, any entrepreneur, just kind of commute down on the weekend, you know, enjoy your Serbian life, but then go back out. How will you stop that brain drain of brilliant Serbs?
It's a $1 million question, and we're trying to resolve it. As again, someone coming from the private sector and being, I think, very, very pragmatic. I think the smart government is the government that actually listens more than it thinks, because, you know, outside of the government you have people in the private sector, in academia, in the civil society that know things better. And so I invited in December people who are abroad, mainly people that we have fantastic organizations abroad, such as Serbian entrepreneurs in San Francisco and New York, people based in mostly Silicon Valley. We have Serbian City Club in London. I've also sent letters to 50 top worldwide universities, to the deans, asking them if they have people from Serbia who are willing to come back for the conference to discuss about what we can do as the government to actually create an environment in which they would want to come back. Or, you know, I ask, you know, and then people tell me, and then I know what to do, rather than create working groups, develop strategies and action plans and stuff. I start from small with my team, and then we develop trust. And so we had this fantastic conference in December last year. 250 people came back to Belgrade for that. They gave us some very specific pointers about what we need to do. And now we are establishing this agency for circular migration. Because, I mean, it's a good thing for people in the 21st century to leave, you know, to leave the country and meet new people, learn different things, as long as they come back, and then some other leave and they come back. And, you know, I think the country becomes stronger and richer because of this. So we're not kind of stopping the brain drain, you know. We're, you know, the easiest thing would be, you know, in kind of, if you were in the 18th century, to close the borders and then everyone stays. But, you know, it's, you know, but you want people to leave, but you also want them to come back. But, you know, we also invest a lot in education. We invest about 100 million euros in creating science and building science and tech parks, investing in now science fund, innovation fund, basically creating an environment in which people will want to stay. And I'm also proud that in the early April, Serbia has actually became only the 23rd full-fledged member of CERN in Geneva. And that's a big sign for our innovators and our science community. And people in our universities, like and institutes like Institute of Physics or Vinča or our universities now have a chance. They would want to stay in our universities because they can actually participate in these cutting-edge scientific projects, more so than in some other countries that are EU member states that are not fully fledged members of CERN. So I believe that step by step, you know, we are going to try and resolve this problem. It's not brain drain. We want to actually, you know, turn it into brain circulation. Mm-hmm. We have many people actually from the, you know, from this startup community. Some of, you know, the best of them who went abroad and thankfully came back, and I would like to, many of them are here with us today. I would like to thank them, and again, they are also advising us on what do we need to do in order to actually create a country in which people will want to stay in.
It's true. I mean, when my team and I, we go and see labs and visit labs around the world, we always meet Serbs. I mean, they're everywhere in these top labs. You just have to somehow bring them back. Yeah. One last question, a personal one. Your partner gave birth to a boy, I think 3 months ago, or is that true?
A little bit over 3 months ago.
A little bit over 3 months. So you became a parent while being prime minister. How has that changed the way you work and think and sleep?
I was two things. Firstly, I had to learn very quickly to function on a lot less sleep. I'm still getting used to it, so it's tough. Secondly, I told my team for the first time I was late for one meeting. Fortunately, it was internal meeting with my team, and I apologized and I told them, listen, I never ever thought that one person can be so happy when someone burps. as I am right now, like, especially in the middle of the night, you know, when the little one eats and then he needs to burp, and then I can go back to sleep. So, you know, and so it changes your life completely, but it also changes my perspective. It changed my perspective about thinking about what we are doing today to leave a better world for the generations to come. And actually, you know, those generations are already here. But what are we doing to create a world that is, and for me, my three pillars are the world that is more free, more fair, and more fun. And
Wow.
so Serbia is going to try and give our contribution to it.
Great. Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you.
You and your team are wonderful. Anna Brnabić.
Thanks so much.
Wonderful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much.